Hi guys! If you're a long-time subscriber, most likely you would already know this, but I am Hispanic. My mom comes from Panama and her father comes from Spain, so she's actually a mix of Panamanian and Spaniard, which obviously would come down into my genes as well. So I am Hispanic, and I did not grow up speaking Spanish at home because when I was a kid, my mom had the fear that I would have an accent when speaking English or that I would mix up English and Spanish, which are common misconceptions that people say, fears people have, and reasons why they won't raise their kids bilingually. For years after that, I was really upset because when I started learning Spanish, I thought, man, I could have already grown up knowing this language, knowing two languages. It would be so cool to speak a language that not a lot of people at the time would have known. I also thought it was a little bit hard to learn at first because I wasn't used to how to learn a language, and this was my first foreign language I was learning, so I was really resentful and thought I could have already known how to speak this, and now I'm putting in a lot of effort to know how. So back then I was really upset, but now I've actually turned that attitude around and it has become an advantage for me, and this is why I'm okay with not growing up bilingually. Because of my first time trying to learn a foreign language, after learning Spanish to a conversational point, I learned by trial and error how to properly, at least what method works for me, learn a language or learn how to be able to speak specifically a language. I was able to apply the same methods I used for learning Spanish to French and Portuguese, with the exception of actually having a native speaker in my home because I do not have a French native speaker nor a native Portuguese speaker living in my house, but I did find people online, you're able to do that, and it works just as effectively as having somebody in your house, as long as you're not scared of making mistakes in front of these strangers or whoever, and you can make some really good friends out of that, trying to do language exchanges. In the end, I was able to learn French and Portuguese conversationally because I applied the same principles that I did to learning Spanish to those languages, and it made each language get easier. There may be some people out there who still haven't learned their heritage language yet, didn't grow up bilingually, were resentful just like I used to be, and felt that it was too hard to learn this language and thought, I could have just grown up speaking this language. It would be so much easier. I'd already be speaking it. Don't have to put all the work into it, all the stress, all the time, all the money, if you're out there buying resources, only to be upset. Back then, I used to feel, even even to this day, sometimes I feel a little bit beneath those who actually are native speakers who grew up speaking Spanish. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, I feel like maybe I'll make a few more mistakes than they do. I used to think that they didn't make any mistakes at all when speaking in Spanish. And after taking a class with native Spanish speakers, I actually did realize that maybe they didn't learn some things at home that you would learn in the classroom like I did. So in a sense, there were times where I did have an advantage because I did learn Spanish in a classroom rather than at home, where I was taught specific rules and I knew why this was supposed to be this way or why that was supposed to be that way instead of the other way. These are things that you don't always learn at home. You can learn how to speak at home, but maybe you don't learn how to write as well. Or maybe you learn how to speak at home, but you don't have proper grammar. In the end, I'm okay with how I was raised. However, if I do have kids, I do plan on having my kids grow up bilingually. If I have the chance, maybe speak Spanish to them or another language, I'm not sure. Even though I'm okay with not growing up bilingually, because I was able to turn that situation around, I would still like my kids to have the opportunity to grow up bilingually, so hopefully one day I could speak Spanish to my kids and they could speak English as well. I do believe that kids can acquire a language more easily because they'll just sit there and soak it in. But I do believe also that it's never too late to start learning the language and that adults or teenagers or whatever can learn a language past the age that is deemed as where you could acquire it. That adults and teenagers could figure out how to learn a language and then actually discipline themselves to be able to study it all the time and to learn and to be able to speak it, whereas kids won't be doing that, they're just picking it up. But adults have the advantage in that sense. They're more conscious of what they're doing and more motivated, making more of an effort. So that's all for this video. This was a post that I saw on Duolingo, the forum, because sometimes I like to read things on there, see what's going on in the language learning community, and one topic was, is anyone resentful about, or it had to do with, did anyone grow up without learning their parents' language? So of course I told my story on there. And that's it. This video was sparked by that idea, and I just wanted to encourage others out there who may have not grown up learning a second language either, and had to learn it later on, or maybe didn't take the step to try to learn it because they thought it was too hard, and they're upset that now they actually have to put a bigger effort into it than just sitting there and acquiring it through listening to other people or TV or whatever. So that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye! Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, remember to press the like button so I can know to make more content like this. Also, remember to leave a comment telling me if you like these kind of videos, or if you want me to make other kinds of videos. Also, remember to subscribe so that you can know when my new videos come out. They come out every week. Also, you can check my blog for other content on travel and language learning, and you can check my Twitter for updates.